visto la prima volta, già sentivo che eri mio, tutto quello che sono.
Welcome to episode 1 of CIBPA's Sugo Sunday. I'm one of your hosts, Gabby from Home with Gabby.
And I'm Elvio Galasso from Elvio's Catering.
Today we're going to bring you a Campania region sugo for the first episode. There are many ways to make a sauce, but to start off, we're going the Neapolitan route, which is actually Elvio's Neapolitan route. Yeah. And the whole point of this, Elvio, and maybe we can elaborate a little bit, is that we're trying to share Italian culture through food, right?
Exactly. So we want to bring back a bit of the nostalgia of the Sunday sauce, the importance of it, eating on Sunday, why we use this typical sauce, which is the king of the Italian ragouts in Naples, and we're going to elaborate on that.
Awesome, let's get to it. Before we get cooking, we just want to thank our presenting sponsors, which include Le Creuset Canada, Darren Carmosino Wealth Management, Fruit Dome, Fruiterie Milano, Bono, Nini Deluca, Zinman, and Maison Lipari.
As well as Marina Del Rey, BMW Laval, Seat, JPMA, FCCI, Raymond, Chabot, Grant Thornton, Saggio, and Iacovino.
Okay, so before the main event, which is obviously the sauce and the pasta, which takes a bit of time to put together, I see you put some really nice appetizers here to tide us over. You want to talk about them? Let me know why you chose these traditionally, what the cultural reason behind it is.
I'd love to, but let's have a drink first.
I like that idea.
We're going to be making a little cocktail, this beautiful product from Nini Deluca that I love. It's their cocktail blends.
Yes, I've had it. This is a tonic water, right?
Yeah, it's a tonic water.
Mediterranean tonic water. It's very delicious.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a little bit of gin.
Want me to open these up for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're just gonna.
So some gin, a bit of tonic.
A bit of tonic.
Just a classic gin tonic.
Yeah, and we could garnish it with a little lemon.
Okay. And alternatively, you could put other stuff in this if you want to sweeten it.
You could sweeten it, but it's already sweet enough, I find. It depends on your mood, you know, what kind of vibe you feel like having, you know.
This little squeeze of lemon?
Yeah, squeeze some lemon.
Okay. Juice in there. Perfect. That looks delicious. Cheers. Let's cook.
Yeah. So let's talk about this, okay?
Yeah.
Now,
tell me.
When we do the Sunday sauce is based around people going to church.
Yeah.
Before going to church, the grandmothers or the mothers of the house would start by making a sauce early in the morning.
Yeah.
And by the time they left, went to church, picked up the bread, came back home, they'd have a little stuff like this already ready while the sauce is still going, right?
Keep the kids fed while
they're
waiting for the pasta
to come, you know?
Yeah, I remember.
So the whole story behind that is that they will use one pot to do a primo and a secondo, right? So in the primo and the secondo, you have the sauce with the meats boiling and everything in, and then, you know, that takes time. So in the meantime, kids come home, they come and pick up, they munch all this stuff. And what I prepared here is some of this, you know, easy stuff that you don't have to go crazy. You just prepare it in a bit. We have a little bit of cacciatore, which is a dried sausage. We have some.
And where did you get this? Where did you get this?
This came from Milano. I got this at the
Milano grocery store.
Milano grocery store. I also got the anchovies there. Okay. And that thing, a classic thing that we used to do back in the day, and I don't know if you guys remember, but we used to do little celery with anchovies on it, and it brings out the freshness and a little bit of floral on it. So it's a nice, like, salty, crunchy, and it opens up the appetite. And it gets you going, and it gets you just a little bit held up. And then after you have a little bit of cheese, we have some mozzarella di bufalo, we have the tuma, we have some pepato. Usually you start off meals, you don't start off with an aggressive cheese like the pepato, but it depends from what region you're from. Some people like that. But usually we always try to start off with soft, and, you know, and you work your way into it, you know. So
never a lack of food on Sugo Sundays, though, eh?
Never. You know, it's just like missing the bread. You know, a little bit of bread, the fresh bread. You come back from.
And then you do la scarpetta.
La scarpetta. Or, you know, what we used to do. What we used to do is, you know, while we were getting ready to go to church and everything, we would take a little bit of sauce, put it on a plate, and just eat that, or just like make a little, like a little.
You just taste
it all the time, you know. And it didn't matter if the bread was crunchy Italian bread. Sometimes we just take the toast bread. We just put it with the toast bread, and we'd love that.
Yeah, we used to tell my nonna, we're just tasting.
We're just tasting.
Tide us over, we're just tasting. Okay, so here you've got it's a mozzarella di bufala.
Yeah.
Which is some tomatoes.
Yeah, just tomatoes and basil.
A little bit of salt, I guess, to bring out the flavors.
Those are marinated
anchovies
with a little bit of lemon, chilies, and olive oil. Just simple like that.
You did the zest, right?
Yeah,
the lemon?
zest on it as well.
Okay, so it's fresh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here we have some artichokes, some grilled artichokes, some melanzane, and then we have some mushrooms.
Sottolio, right?
Sottolio. And basically, this stuff back in the day, like now we could all buy it, right?
Yeah.
But back in the day,
it was all homemade.
It's all homemade.
Yeah.
It's all the stuff that's in the canteen.
Yeah.
This would be in the canteen. They would jar the mushrooms.
Yeah.
They would make the melanzans. At the same time as doing the tomatoes.
So I still do the mushrooms.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Sottaceto. I still do those because my nonna always did them to me. It's like the taste of Sundays for me when I have that. When I have those.
And it's always
even
handy,
these we used to
right?
do. But we used to do them in the jars under oil. Remember?
Ah, the best. Yeah. So what we used to put anzungi, which is shortening, with which you would melt the beef fat and you would pour or pork fat and pour it into it, and that would be a method of conservation. So that what you could put is all the stuff in. So you would have to pull it out of the oil, and I remember I used to eat it coming back from school, watching G.I. Joe and Transformers, and I would be munching on a cacciatore stick like that.
But now, as much as we keep the traditions, I know I do the sauce in the fall in September.
Yeah.
We keep the traditions. We don't do everything anymore. So at least we can find these things locally at our nice Italian grocery stores. And still pull together like our traditional Sundays that we grew up on, let's say.
And I think it's very important. And I'm starting to see a new generation bringing this back and using it because it has been lost for a certain amount of time. There was a transition between different generations and it was lost. But I'm starting to see like younger generations getting back into it. They're missing it. And it's very important that we keep this part of our culture, like in any culture, right?
Absolutely. I see it even on my platform. I do all these things because it makes me happy. I enjoy doing them. I learned from my nonna, and for me, in my mind, when that generation's gone, all of these traditions are lost, right? So someone's got to keep them. And I see people, they want to do it, and it's just a matter of learning how or where to get your products. But other than that, it's not complicated.
It's not complicated. And it's just it takes a good timing, a good planning, and you could do all of these things at home. And I'm sure it's very easy. You just take your time, plan it out, and do it.
That's it. So should we get to the sauce?
Let's get to the sauce.
Let's get to the sauce.
So there's a variety of meats. Here we have pork bones, okay? Like a baby back, which is perfect. Okay, it brings a lot of flavor. It has a lot of gelatinous, like collagen. We have, this is like the pancetta, right? It's ventresca, we call it, but it's the same thing. It's pork belly. Delicious. You just put it to give a flavor, and also using all these pork and beef cuts. For example, here we have the kotica. Now, kotica is something that people don't know a lot of. Okay, and I know you like it.
I love it. I grew up eating this stuff. Delicious.
So there's like the kotica is the pig skin, which is seasoned, rolled, fried, and put inside. Now, the reason why we put all of these inside a sauce is because it brings a little nutritional value to the point that it'll hold you up for the whole day. Because when you have a Sunday sauce, you're not eating anything in the afternoon, like later on. It's usually, you start eating around 1, and you go through maybe until 3, 4, and then that's it. You're not eating anything else for the rest of the day, and you need to say something that's going to hold you up and everything.
It tides you lunch and dinner.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like a lupper,
A lupper.
Yeah? So we have the beef. And this is one of my favorites as well. Like when I'm at home with my brothers and they go for it, I'm like stabbing them in the hands with my fork so that they can have it, But we all love this, right? So here I have that.
So maybe a tip is make extra kotica, right?
Always. But and I'm going to bring like, again, my grandmother, when she used to do this, we used to fry this originally. Then she wanted to go on a little bit of a healthier vibe, and she's just decided to poach it directly, and the sauce has never been the same. So that's an important thing. So here we have for the brajol, it's like it's a cut of meat that they have. It's like a flank steak almost, but they cut it on it's cut against the grain, so you see the grain. So basically, this is a piece of beef that we're gonna slice. They're gonna do it, and all this meat comes from Zinman.
I was gonna say it's beautiful meat. Where'd you get it?
Yeah, so we got it at Zinman, and if you go there and you ask for the cuts of meat that we're using for today, I think they'll have more than enough of something already prepared for that.
So you can ask for the Sugo Sunday sauce kit, and you can buy all this.
Yeah.
Okay. You go to the market, you pick up what you need, you pick up your meats,
Milano,
one-stop shop.
Exactly.
Awesome.
You know, so these are the three cuts. We also have meatballs, and the meatballs is
Can't
basically
forget the polpette.
the little polpettes. So the meatballs basically I use 100% veal.
Okay.
It depends. It could be veal and pork, or it could be veal, pork, and beef. My mom always does veal, pork, and beef. I just got used to doing it with veal,
okay.
And sometimes I'll throw in that extra fat of pork fat in it. But I just like the texture it gives, and what I do is veal, parmigiano, maybe an egg, a lot of bread, and some garlic and parsley. We're gonna put this meat back. We're gonna start with the kotica and the brajol. Okay. To do this, so you need the pig skin. Okay, which is like this. Okay. After, what you're gonna do is we're gonna season it. Okay, with a little bit of garlic and parsley. And the parsley and I have oregano or marjoram. Okay. This comes from Fruit Dome. I find he has a great product.
He does.
You know,
and you can find these easily in grocery stores.
All the grocery
they carry
stores,
Fruit Dome products, and they're very, very fresh. They're herbs,
Yeah.
which I love. So.
And they hold for a long time.
They do.
You know,
and they come in decent sized packs too, which
Exactly.
makes it easy. You don't waste. You use a good chunk of it.
Exactly. So what I'm gonna do is basically I'm gonna chop a little bit of garlic, and it doesn't have to be finely chopped. It could be, just go with the vibe. Just go with your feel. You know, that's the same thing. When I cook, I always go with a feeling. You know, like what mood I'm in. For example, someone says, "What do you put in your ossobuco? Do you use white wine? Do you use red wine?" It depends my mood. Sometimes I'll use 50-50, and it depends on how the temperature is outside. If it's colder, if it's warmer, if it's early October, late December. I'll just go with the mood and the temperature.
And the season.
Yeah, and the season, you know? So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna season these two. We're gonna season one at a time, okay? I'm gonna show you how to do this one. So this one here, basically, okay, we just do a little bit of garlic, a bit everywhere.
Okay.
Okay, we could put oregano, fresh oregano. It's very fun. I actually love dried oregano.
I find the potency is a bit different.
Yeah, it's a different profile. Like, same thing with chilies, right? I have fresh chilies and I like dried chilies.
So my fiance's family taught me to put those in either like a spice grinder, food processor. You pulverize it into a powder.
Exactly.
And instead of using oil on our pasta, we actually use the powder. And
That's
I find
what I
it's even more potent.
It's more potent. You get more flavor profile on it, and the way it's dried out, it just enhances the flavor of the
I
pepper.
agree. And you can mix whatever peppers you want.
Yeah.
We use super chilies, but you said you use something different.
Well,
right?
yeah. Well, I use the little cherry bombs, the super chilies. I have a mixture of chilies. What I do is I take a little string and a needle, and I go right through here, and I just dry them up and I hang them in my kitchen. So it actually decorates.
School way.
It actually decorates my kitchen. And then as it's drying, when I need, I just break it and I just put it a bit inside here like this.
Nice.
Now this dish really needs the chili. Okay.
Okay.
Now the one that I have that I mix, I had some ghost peppers and Carolina Reapers, which I'm not a fan of their flavor profile, but what I do, like, I like their heat.
They give a nice kick.
But if you put like maybe 1/8 of it to your mix, it's gonna give it a different heat.
Try that.
Yeah.
Because I grow them in my garden, the super chilies. So it's very easy. End of the season, dry them all
The
up,
best.
pulverize, and then we've got fresh spicy stuff all year.
And it's so good,
amazing.
you know. And spice brings up the metabolism, speeds up your metabolism. And
So
everything.
do you put any salt?
You could put some salt.
could?
Yeah,
Okay,
I am
good.
gonna put some salt.
You're gonna put salt, okay?
Yeah, and I know I have a rub behind me,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna get some salt right here.
I'm already salivating. This looks delicious.
So here, just a little bit of salt.
Okay.
You know, I'm gonna go with my finger
Go with
here.
your fingers.
Okay, a little bit of salt, and that's it. This one is done.
Okay.
Finito. Nothing there left to do. Now
That's
all we have
it.
to, that's it. And now we're gonna roll it.
See, that's what I love about Italian cooking. It's easy.
Yeah,
The flavor seems intricate, but it's so easy to put together.
yeah. People say, man, these guys eat pig skin even. These guys eat everything, you know? But
If
we eat
you
everything.
know,
yeah.
you
Yeah,
know.
you know, exactly. But you know what? That's the thing. It's nose to tail, right? We eat everything, especially on the pig.
You know, so my family background, we come from north to south, okay?
Yeah.
So I've had, as a kid growing up, tripa, and I never knew what it was. I just knew I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And later on in life, I found out what it was. And people think it's weird tita, but I love it.
I love it too.
You eat everything, every part of the animal you eat.
And sometimes I do that. I make my students try it and they love it. And you know what? I did it not too long ago. We were doing a cafeteria module at the school because I also teach at the institute and I train chefs. And what happened was I put on the menu because I go, these guys are never going to see it. So as I put on the menu, all the chefs came down to eat the tripa. They love it. They had it for breakfast. The next day we'd have it for breakfast with a little bit of fajol inside and everything like that. Maybe we should do another episode with tripa. A tripa episode.
All the weird cuts of meat.
Yeah,
Do an episode on the weird cuts of meat.
So this is done.
Okay.
Right?
Put
it's
it
ready
aside.
to go. Now we're gonna do the brajol. Now the brajol.
Everyone has their way of doing this, eh?
Yeah. Everyone has their way of doing it. I personally am not a fan of the brajol. Like that's my take of it.
Is it because you find it more dry?
It's dry,
Yeah,
and I don't
agree.
like dry stuff. I don't like dry stuff. I like it has to be moist. So what I do is a little hack, and I'm going to teach you my hack.
Tell us
the
all
Elvio
your
G
secrets,
hack,
Elvio.
which makes it a little bit more interesting. Is it OG original? No, but if it blends in, okay?
It's called a new classic.
Yeah, a new classic.
A new classic.
So what I do, okay, wash my hands, is we put the same ingredients. We put garlic,
Yeah.
oregano, parsley,
Yeah.
a little bit of salt.
Okay.
Okay, not too much. Just a little bit of salt.
Because you're going to have cheese in there, I'm assuming?
Exactly, the cheese is gonna go in here. Okay. I'm gonna do one classic and one new school.
Okay.
Here's the cheese. Okay.
And this you're using grated Parmigiano Reggiano?
Parmigiano, exactly.
Okay.
So now what you would do is just roll it up.
This is the classic.
The classic one, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you just roll it up like this, okay, and you just make sure that the stuff doesn't come out. You can
Nice
even
and
do
tight.
this tight, and you just roll it up like a little burrito, and
An
fajita.
Italian burrito.
Yeah,
The
of
best
meat.
kind.
Yeah. And you tie it up again. Okay?
Okay.
Now the butcher's twine that I'm using now is it's made for bigger cuts of meat. There's also a finer one.
Okay.
The finer one is better, I find.
But always important to remove before you're serving,
Exactly.
obviously.
You have to. Yeah.
And once it's cooked, it keeps its shape, so there's
Yeah.
no worry that it's going to open up.
It's not gonna open
the
up in
dish.
anything. Yeah. The reason why we're doing this, some people put toothpicks.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, my nonna puts toothpicks to seal like the ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this seems a little easier.
Yeah. This you do it like this, and you
And I'm
prepare.
always scared I'm going to lose a toothpick in the sauce.
Exactly.
It's gonna
So
have to
there's
go
just what my students, what I do is when they leave it on, or when
Yeah.
they leave the toothpick in, I go, "You already got the dental floss ready for me." You know, like I always make a little joke about it, but that's it. So now,
that's why you have
yeah,
extra pulpet in
So
meat.
we put it inside here like this.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah.
I like this. It's like a 2-in-1.
Yeah, it's a 2-in-1. It keeps it moist and it makes
Okay.
it makes it very fun. It's more of an involtini than it is a brajol, but it works and it works very well. Okay.
I cannot wait to try this.
Yeah. And that's it. Now we're just gonna
So
tie
much
it up.
flavor in that one bite, though, eh?
Yeah, a lot of flavor. Then when you slice it, you can have the little, a little ring. If you really want to get complicated, I'm not gonna get complicated because the Italians are not complicated.
Not complicated.
But we also do the polpettone, right? The Abruzzese,
Yes.
they do the polpettone,
Yes.
and they do the big polpettone, and they put the boiled egg in the middle.
Yes.
You know?
I like that.
Yeah, it's cute.
It's cute.
So here we go. Tie it up, and we're ready to go. Now it's important that you get all your meats ready beforehand,
Okay.
before you start anything, because like this, it'll work the process. It'll make the process go a little bit faster. Now,
But what about the pork belly and the ribs? You season them?
yeah, just salt.
Salt?
Salt. We're gonna salt them, put them in the pan.
Okay.
And I'm gonna explain that to you in the next steps.
Okay, let's fry.
Yeah,
Let's
we're
get
gonna
fried.
fry it.
So while Elvio gets started on the meat and the sauce, I'm gonna take that time to set up a really nice table. We're gonna keep it super simple, rustic Italian vibe, but kind of take it up a little notch. So I'll take you with me.
Babbo. We're gonna be using this Le Creuset. We're gonna add olive oil, garlic. And we're gonna make the sauce with this right away. I like leaving my garlic whole because I can remove it if I don't want it, okay? So I add the garlic, I get it nice and toasted. And I like to cook with the lid sometimes. Okay, now we add this. Now, when I make my sauce, I only use garlic and onion. Once you cover it, you'll notice that the onions are releasing all their juices, and you're gonna see it's very transparent. Even a little bit more. We're gonna give it a few more minutes. So now you notice all the humidity is causing in here. Look, that's keeping all the juices and it's stopping it from getting colored. the Volailles onion, sweated properly in there. And now we can start adding our tomato. Now, what the tomatoes that I like to use, okay, is a passata from Muti, okay? Which gives it its thickness, okay? But we're gonna fix something. I'm gonna leave it here for now. And then I like using a little bit of polpa from Muti and Bianco di Napoli. Now we're gonna do a little hack, the little Nana hack, which is, at first, I hated it when my grandmother and my mother would add water to it. I say, you're watering down the sauce, but you're not. What you're doing is you're permitting it to cook longer, because the water will evaporate and condense the sauce later on. And the steam and the heat that the water brings to it breaks down the tomato much better, as opposed to if you would go just concentrated tomato. So that's why we have to do a nice long cooking time for this, okay? So adding water is not a faux pas, it's actually a must. Because if not, you're just gonna have a dense sauce and your meat will stay dry and not moist and cooked, as opposed to if you don't put the water. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna put this behind, clean up a bit here, and I'm gonna start frying the meat. With a little bit of a reduction like that. And that's it. Now.
So I want to show you a very easy way to make a really pretty table, even if it's just for Sugo Sunday with the family. It's always nice to add a little bit of detail to make it feel a little more personal, a little more charming, and you can do that super easily and on a really, really inexpensive budget. So I put together 2 tables for you to give you an idea, one lower budget, one higher budget. You pick which one you want, but the elements of it will all remain the same. So if I show you the first one here, this would be what I call the lower budget table. You're gonna need 3 elements that are super important, which is a charger to place your dinner plate on, a dinner plate, and a pasta dish. In this case, I wanted to kind of bring in the Italian elements, the Italian colors. So you've got the green in the centerpiece, and then you've got the red in the dish. All the dishware, all of the glassware is from Maison Lipari. They have an amazing selection from low to luxe of things you can choose to set your table, whether it's for Sugo Sunday or any other event. In this case, I picked up some fun glasses, like I said, the Le Creuset red dishes, and then just a classic white pasta dish, which I think should be a staple in everybody's pantry. So now that you've got the base of what you need to build your table, let's talk details. Although they're totally unnecessary, to me, they are what makes the table pop and come together. I am a sucker for details, so let me show you what I did with this table. Let's start with the centerpiece. Over here, you might see some pretty bud vases, some pretty flowers, but what you might not realize is that one of the bud vases is actually an upcycled Muti passata jar. So you saw Elvio preparing the sauce. He used the Muti jars. Instead of recycling them, I cleaned them, removed the label, and reused them as an element of my centerpiece. Super easy. I use these season round, and you never guess that they came from the grocery store. And then what I did here was I added wildflowers. So these flowers you can either find from your backyard, your garden, you can find them on the side of the road. No need to actually go to a florist to pick up flowers. These are all wild and they're super pretty, and the green element picks up very well. And then what I did is I like to work in 3s. So you've got the candle, the bud vase, and a second bud vase. These vases are actually from IKEA. I believe they were 79 cents each. So really not breaking the bank with these. And instead of using flowers, I kind of picked up elements from the dish, smells, colors, and I went with some basil. This is the same basil Elvio used in our dishes from Fruit Dome, and just repurposed as a really pretty centerpiece. Next up, what I did is set up the place for every person. I like to personalize every person's dish, so they either know where they're sitting or they feel like they were not an afterthought when I'm hosting. So everyone's got their name tag. Instead of just putting the name tag on the dish or on the side, I figured we're making tomato sauce, let's repurpose the use of a tomato, and I just use a simple pin, a name tag. You can have them printed, you can write them by hand, and I plop them in the middle of the dish. Super pretty, super easy, and it's really that little detail that takes it over the edge. Then, napkins. Of course, you can use paper napkins. I find using cloth napkins elevates your dining experience a little bit more, even if it's just Sugo Sunday. Take it up a notch. They throw in the wash. These are white. You can bleach them, super easy. And the best part is, I didn't buy these as napkins. What you do is you can buy yourself some linen. You want the frayed edges. It gives it more of that rustic look. You tear up the fabric And then I just tied it with some kitchen twine. And like that, literally in all of 5 minutes, you have a perfectly beautiful set table.
So now in olive oil, we're gonna start frying some of the meats. And it's important that you season the meat. It helps color the meat a little bit better. It helps release some of the waters inside the meat and makes it bleed. And those juices that are inside the meat is going to color, and that's what it's called the Maillard reaction. Okay, the caramelization of the juices of the proteins. Okay. Very important when you're doing this, especially when you get to the Kotica, to have a screen. The Creuset makes one as well, and it's going to cover it. It's going to protect you from getting burnt all over the arms and getting... So now we're gonna plop everything in. So it's gonna cook here. So now we're just gonna let it simmer in here with a little bit of a vent coming out so that it'll keep on keeping it moist because of the humidity, but at the same time let it evaporate so that it can reduce. I will cook it for an hour and 45 minutes minimum at a very, very, very low heat. Okay, and that's it. After that, shut it off. You can let the meat rest inside, and then we'll decant the meat. We'll mix the sauce, and we'll go with that. Now, traditionally, a lot of people like to use long pasta, a spaghetti, a rigatoni, mezze maniche, but very classically, a lot of people go for the rigatoni rigate. It goes well with the sauce. The lines on the rigate go pick up the leftover meats that have fallen off the bone and stuff, and it helps it grab the sauce better. And that's why we go with the rigate, and it gives it a little bit more of a texture. Okay, so rigatoni is good, spaghetti is good, whatever you like. If you like lisce, you could go with lisce. If you like pennone, you could go with pennone. Okay, very importantly, okay, always season your water. Rule of thumb, 12 grams per liter, and taste it. When the water comes to a boil, taste it. See how the pasta water tastes, because it's important that that's what's gonna give the flavor to the pasta. It's gonna absorb all the salt and the water, and it's gonna make it very tasty. You should be able to eat the pasta alone with nothing on it, just a bit of olive oil. And that's what's gonna give it that taste. All the companies, different companies, have, they do a lot of research and development on their pasta, and they find the perfect cooking time. So always follow the number behind. That is to the T, to have an al dente pasta. If you want it a little bit more cooked, you could exceed by a minute. If you want it undercooked, and sometimes certain pastas want to be finished in a pan, you reduce it by a minute, okay? But always make sure that you follow the rules on the package, the timing, and you taste it as well before before mixing it with the sauce. Never throw pasta in if the water is not roiling like that. Okay, give it a mix. I like this spoon, it's so cute. Let it cook. Keep on mixing it once in a while so that the pasta doesn't stick. And 12 minutes.
So now I'm going to show you how to take your table up a notch to the luxe level. And what I mean by luxe, it's not that it requires something special, it's just that you're using dishes that you probably don't already have in your kitchen. So you're splurging on an extra set of dishes just to give it that little touch. These again are all from Maison Lipari, and they have a beautiful collection. And when I saw these tomato plates, I had to have them for Sugo Sunday because they fit the bill perfectly. So what I have here is the same exact setup as the other table, same centerpieces, same name tags, same napkins. We're just taking it up a notch with new glasses and new dishes. And what I really loved was that I wanted to give it that old school Italian vibe with the glasses that I chose, which are these little coupes that we're gonna use as wine glasses. Now, traditionally in Italy, you don't really see often in the taverna or in the restaurants that you go eat, very casalingo, you don't see the long stem wine glasses. You see something like this, a little goblet. And actually, when you go to cafes, a lot of the time, traditional Italian cafes, even here in Montreal, they'll serve you your cappuccino in this as well. So I thought these were really fun. We'll use these as wine glasses. And then the bigger ones, the bigger versions of the same glasses can serve as your water glass, soda glass, whatever you're gonna use it for. I always like to set my table with 2 glass options depending on what beverage you're gonna be serving. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this table up and show you how cute it looks when you add a little bit of fun detail like a cute dish like this. So this is what your table looks like with these really fun, colorful dishes. I love the little cabbage detail, the little tomato detail, really pulls in the whole theme together. And yes, I know it's a little more expensive to go with dishes that you probably won't use every day, but these can double as salad dishes, side dishes, even dishes for bread and butter. And you know what? If you wanted the extra money to splurge on dishes like these, may I suggest investing your money with Darren Carmosino Wealth Management. And you know what? You might have an extra few bucks for a second set of dishes like these.
Give a little bit of water. Pasta's cooked.
This looks so good.
We scolato the pasta.
I wish you could smell what this smells like.
And we're gonna mix it all up.
You always put a bit at the bottom of the pot, right?
A bit at the bottom. It kind of emulsifies everything. Not that I'm gonna use the water to cook, but because sometimes we leave the water and we continue the cooking of the pasta to get it nice. But the water, what it does with this, it gets mixed up with the fat and the proteins, and it emulsifies a bit, so it coats the pasta properly, you know.
Nice.
So now we have this here. We're gonna make some
cheese.
We're gonna put some cheese. I just like to put in a little bit. I don't like to over sauce, personally. You could put me some cheese, yeah.
Tell me when to stop, because you know with me, it's a lot of cheese.
We could do all day.
I grew up on cheese. Never enough.
Perfect.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so now what we do is we're mixing it, and the water that was at the bottom is gonna help it.
Like creamy.
Yeah, make it creamy, yeah. See? Now, the pasta we use, we just use Nini Deluca rigatoni, which is holding very well.
It's the Cipriani brand that they carry, right?
That's right, the Cipriani brand.
Very nice.
And here.
We're doing it family style.
Family style.
Nice.
Put in the middle of the table.
Serve yourself.
Serve yourself.
Add sauce as you wish.
And if you notice, look how much sauce there is.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion.
I like it like this too, and whoever wants more adds more.
Yeah.
Nothing like walking into Nonna's house on a Sunday and just smelling what you're going to be eating for lunch, right? I feel like my Nonna's house always smelled like
Sunday
sauce, basil. She also uses fennel a lot, the Sicilian side. So there's always that little hint of fennel in everything. So you don't put basil in your sauce?
I do. I put some inside. There was
You
a
did?
bit, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't put in this one, but I mean, like, there was some already inside the...
Just make it look pretty.
Yeah, make it look pretty, but you could put some inside the sauce. I like it. I find that this sauce, you could accent with the basil. You don't necessarily need to put it in. If I'm making a tomato basil sauce, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But this sauce, because of the meat and everything, I find the profile of the flavor profile, it'll change a bit, you know, but it's still good. You could put it, you could do whatever you want. You could, like, as long as you're not putting bay leaf or anything else in there, but I mean, just saying bay leaf like that, yeah.
Look at that. Delicious goodness. Oh my God, look at that. Perfect kotica. Beautiful. All I can say, Elvio, is that I'm salivating. This smells so good. I'm sure it tastes as good as it smells. I wish everyone could smell this. This was really fun. Thank you so much for showing me your way of doing Sugo Sunday. It was fun to learn.
I loved it. I love working with you. You have a great eye, and I love the way you set up everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
I can't wait to see what we come up with for the next Sugo Sunday.
Yeah. We're gonna have to do something a little bit later on in the season.
More outdoors.
Outdoors, garden.
Oh yeah, we'll make use. We'll pick out of my garden. I'm sure we'll find some more stuff. Awesome. Buon appetito.
Buon appetito. So these wines are from Jacovino. Okay. And when I was speaking to him about the wines, I like to go with what grows together, goes together. And since we're in the region of Campania, I wanted to do at least one wine out of the two, which is from there. And this one here is a Falanghina from Rocca Monfina, okay, in the province of Galluccio.
It's a white, right?
It's a white wine, Falanghina, and it goes very well with this. The level of acidity in it is perfect. It'll cut through everything, but it's better for the aperitivo. All the stuff before the antipasto, we'll have it with this, but you could actually have the meal with this as well.
If you prefer white.
If you prefer white, you know, nice and chilled, great wine to go with. The second one we have here, to break away from the whole Campania thing, we have a Langhe Rosso from Piemonte. And this wine is very high in it has a lot of fruit and acidity, and the acidity is going to help cut through all the fat, the pig fat that's inside there, and all the richness. So it's going to really balance everything out.
Very nice.
So let's have a glass of this.
I think we should try. Let's try the white.
Yeah.
In a little traditionally Italian goblets like this. Since we can't go to Italy, might as well feel like we're there.
Exactly. There you go. So.
There you go.
So to Sugo Sundays.
Salute.
Salute.
Cheers. Special thank you to our presenting sponsors, which include Le Creuset Canada, Darren Carmosino Wealth Management, Fruit Dome, Fruiterie Milano, Bono, Nini Deluca, Zinman, and Maison Lipari, as well as our second-tier sponsors, which include Marina Del Rey, BMW Laval, Ciot, JPMA, FCCI, Raymond Chabot Grant Thornton, Sajo, and Jacovino.